Hey, good morning. You want to walk into work with me? This morning I was reading the Torah portion. I want to say it was Genesis 37 or 39. I can't remember. Anyway, it was about Joseph and how he was in charge of all the stuff for, I think his name was Potiphar. I'm just horrible with names. And his wife kept asking to sleep with him, and he kept saying no. And one day she grabbed him up and pulled his shirt off, or his tunic, or whatever it was, and then accused him of trying to rape her. And then he was put in prison. Well, if we believe the story, he didn't do that, but yet he was falsely imprisoned. And it just really made me think, by him going to prison, good morning. By him going to prison, that put him where God wanted him for the next task, or what he was going to use him for. And the way I reflected on that is that's just a bit of suffering that he went through. Imagine someone coming and knocking on your door, taking you out of your home, and accusing you of something that you didn't do. And I just thought about that, and then it kind of led me this morning as I'm driving to work to really kind of think about how God puts us in places, how he puts things in our lives, how he puts all of that into motion. And as I'm driving to work, I don't know why, but my little car just came to mind. I drive a little Chevy Sonic, and I reflected back on how it came about. And when we were moving from New York to Oklahoma, I can remember driving. I had to enroll in college because I was doing a educational transfer. Otherwise, you had to quit and start over. And I had applied to go to OU, like just a couple classes for like working parents at OU, and thought I was approved. And we got in the car to move to Oklahoma. And on the way there, I called the lady and said, I still haven't got my approval letter. She's like, yeah, about that. You're not approved. And I'm like, but I've already started moving. Like, I'm in the vehicle moving now. So we had to go a different route. But with that, I had to go back to New York and had to stay a little bit longer till my job would release me. And whenever I got released, I went to the airport and I told people, hey, I need a car that has Bluetooth, because I have some phone calls I have to make while I drive to New York City to go to LaGuardia. And they gave me a Mitsubishi that did not have Bluetooth. And mind you, this was 10 years ago. It did not have Bluetooth. So I went back in and told them that it didn't. And they said, well, we don't have a car in the class that you rented available, but if you will take we have a subcompact. If you will take that to the airport for us, we need to move it to LaGuardia. We will pay for your gas. And I was like, sure, that's fine. And I got in this little car. It was a Chevy Sonic. And I just remember how impressed I was by this little car. And I remember I called my wife, who was already here in Oklahoma, and said, I got this little car. I've never seen one before. I think it's really nice. Well, little did I know that whenever I got here to Oklahoma, my Jeep Cherokee was about to just kaput on me. Transmission, it just broke. It just broke like multiple things. And it was going to be so much money to fix it. And I was like, well, and we had just moved here, and I just started working part-time, and my wife had just started, and we got a kind of an expensive apartment for people that just started. And I remember saying, well, I'm just going to have to get a new car. And I began the daunting task of looking. And then I had a friend who, he was a car salesman. And so he referred me to his friend at the Chevy dealer. And I went in there and said, this is the car I'm looking for. I want to check out these little cars. And they had 3 of them. So I got to pick my color. And it was $12,000. It had 12,000 miles on it. They had used it for like a program car, like a rental car, whatever. And so I used it. And I looked at it and I bought it, and it was just a huge blessing. And as I reflect back on that, I had no idea that that's the direction that it was going to go for me. But yet, even though that was the direction that God had chose for me to have that car, he put me in it in advance. I look back at that now and I think, wow, like this little car, takes like $20 to fill it up. Hold on, UPS.com. Yeah, it takes like $20 to fill it up, and I've had to replace the turbo in it, and power steering pump, and et cetera, et cetera. But the point of that is to look at that and say, excuse me, good morning. To look at that and see how the Father had used me having to go back to New York, thinking that I was going to be approved for this college, and then coming to Oklahoma, and my thing breaking, my Jeep breaking, and he used all of that to put me in this little car. And this little car is 2015. It's almost 11 years old now, and I'm so thankful for that car. My wife hates it. It is a little car. I'm a big dude. I don't really fit in it very well. It gets like 35 miles to the gallon. Don't use much gas. The tires are cheap on it. I've had to replace some stuff. The hood, engineering flaw. The hood and the top of it, the paint is not quality. It's fading off. But it's kind of a part of our family because I depend on it and I've invested in it. And you saw this morning as I'm coming to work, I'm just really reflecting on how thankful I am that even though, I have a truck, I don't drive it to work the majority of the time, how God chose to put that in my path. And then I didn't know that stuff was going to go down that way. And then to know now that for the last 10 years I've driven that car. It's got its quirks. The touch screen on the stereo quit working. So I can't connect to Bluetooth. I can't play music on it. I can listen to a couple radio stations that are on the preset. Air One being one of them. And that's it. That's it. Like most of the days I just ride with the volume down and my earbud in. But I say all that to say this. When we're going through life and we might seem discouraged with our situation that's in our face, be encouraged that God is faithful and he works for the good in all things for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And so therefore I can trust that even in the light of something bad happening, God most likely has a plan for that, and it's going to bring him glory. And for me this morning, it just caused me to embrace with a heart of thanksgiving this little dinky old car. It's just a car. It's paid for. It just made me full of gratitude that he would give that to me. I paid for it, but that he would place it in my life, and I put my trust in that it will save my life if I get into a car crash or whatever. But just to be an encouragement to try to look at the bigger picture and just remember, God created everything. He created the earth, the sun, moon, the stars, the water, the shoreline, the sand. He's in control. As long as we keep our eyes on him and continue to desire his will, allow him to be in control, even if it means you might have to suffer. You might have to lose some things. You might have to be pruned. He might have to remove you from some place to put you somewhere else, because in 4 years, you're going to be there, and he has a plan for that. When I think about life, when I think about my day-to-day like that, I'm blown away. He gets all the glory. Every day that I go out and I do work, and I still have this job, I know he allowed it. He put me here, so I'm going to serve his purpose. You guys be blessed. Have a good day.